It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Thursday, March 19th. I'm Mac Watson. A 14-year-old accused of shooting his mother in the head after she called him retarded and a thief over a stolen electronic tablet was bound over to felony court on Wednesday. Cowboy State Daily's Greg Johnson reports that Havoc Leone has been charged as an adult with first-degree murder.
The 14-year-old teen was brought in wearing the juvenile jail garbs. Most people, adults, they wear the bright orange jumpsuits. He was wearing a tan one, and he's rather small, so it looked very big on him. He came in and he sat down. I didn't see any emotion from him. He just sat there quietly and watched the testimony. Some of it was pretty gruesome, but he just didn't react.
Laramie County Assistant District Attorney Kelly Strickland argued during Wednesday's preliminary hearing that the boy expressed a long-simmering hatred for his mother and had thoughts about killing her in the past. Conversely, the defense argued that Leone is an emotionally vulnerable child who had been subjected to a pattern of degrading treatment by a mentally ill mother. A Wyoming reporter posted bond and left jail on Wednesday in a case claiming she submitted forged documents and lied to a state panel about a controversial wind project near Chugwater. Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck reports that April Marie Morgenroth faces 10 felonies and up to 65 years in prison if convicted.
April Morgenroth, who's also known as Marie Hamilton in court documents, got out of jail today. Her attorney was able to convince the judge to reduce her $50,000 cash bond to $5,000. And so she left the jail, according to jail personnel. Her attorney waived her preliminary examination on those 10 charges. So she now faces arraignment in Platte County District Court. We also know that her husband posted online to a fundraising website that they're asking for people to help out in the defense of the defendant and saying that there may be, quote unquote, some political things going on in her prosecution.
Morgenroth, who is 40 years old, faces 3 counts of possession of forged writing, 3 counts of forgery, and 4 counts of perjury in judicial, legislative, or administrative proceedings. U.S. House candidate and Casper businessman Reid Rasner has sued 3 more people for defamation. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that one of the persons said she welcomes the lawsuit.
One of those is another former legislator, Kit Jennings, and then 2 are Natrona County residents, a man and his ex-wife. So that's Dan Sabrowski and Michelle St. Louis. He claims that Kit Jennings has been accusing him of sexual misconduct and that Dan Sabrowski and Michelle St. Louis have been waging a social media and whisper campaign that has damaged his business. But Michelle St. Louis said, yeah, bring it on.
The 3 new lawsuits are in addition to his July 2025 defamation lawsuit against former state Senator Anthony Bouchard, a Republican who represented parts of Laramie and Platte counties. With over 750,000 acres of agricultural land destroyed by wildfire, Nebraska ranchers are facing tough decisions about where to graze their cattle. Cowboy State Daily's Kate Meadows reports that one expert says Wyoming is also in a drought, so we really can't offer much pasture.
Jim Magagna is the executive president of the Wyoming Stock Growers Association. He said that he hopes and he encourages Wyomingites to help out where they can, but he also said Wyoming is in a drought of its own, and that leaves good pasture land at a premium. The Nebraska Cattlemen's Association has set up a district resource page on its website where people can give monetary donations. Cattle ranchers say the damage is done. They're out of hay. A lot of the fences have burned down. They don't have any land, really, that they can graze their displaced cattle on.
According to wildfire.gov, neither the Cottonwood nor Morrill fires grew notably beyond their current perimeters on Wednesday, despite Tuesday's strong winds. But for many ranchers, the damage is already done. I'll be back with more news from Cowboy State Daily right after this.
Out here, everything takes longer. The miles in between teach patience. They teach you what's worth driving for. In Wyoming, miles are how we measure love. The distance you'll go to help a neighbor, to pick up your kid from an activity, or to visit someone you care about. That's why Hilltop Bank rides with you through every mile. We're not just close by, we're traveling the same roads. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Cowboy State Daily News continues now. Hunters in northern Wyoming say the BLM destroyed some of the best pheasant hunting in the entire region by removing entire strands of Russian olive trees near Grable. Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines reports that the BLM says it's an invasive tree species.
Some hunters, a group, at least 4 hunters that I took out of the Cody area, really loved it because that provided really good cover for pheasants, primarily for bird hunters. But the BLM and the County Weed and Pest District came through there and just wiped out just basically laid the land bare of Russian olive trees. And these hunters are saying it was like the coolest spot to go bird hunting in this whole area, because Wyoming's kind of a challenging place to find good bird hunting as it is.
Russian olive trees are widely regarded as an invasive species, and the general rule among land management agencies is to get rid of them. Representative Ken Pendergraft, a member of the Freedom Caucus who wants to defund the Wyoming Business Council, is running for an open seat in Sheridan County. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that Pendergraft faces Wyoming business owner Melissa Butcher, who says defunding isn't the answer.
He's now hoping to ascend to the Senate from the House, saying he can bridge some discord between the two chambers, saying he would like to see true conservative fiscal restraint. And Butcher, meanwhile, said that she wants to really listen. She said she's seeing a lot of ideology, not as much good policy, and she wants to listen and to reform things rather than, in her words, burn it down.
That Sheridan County seat, Senate District 1, won't have an incumbent in the August 18th primary election since it belongs currently to Senate President Bo Biteman, who announced last week that he's running for the Republican nomination for the U.S. House of Representatives instead. The Lander community is rallying to help an 11-member family recover from a devastating house fire. Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck reports that the mother of the family says people have been very generous and every little bit helps.
On Thursday, March 12th, the Sweeney family in Lander woke up to a huge boom. That's what the dad, Owen Sweeney, told me. He said when they looked outside, they saw that their deck was on fire. And by the time they got outside, it was on the roof, and they called the fire department. The fire department showed up, and the fire chief told me when he got there, everybody was outside. So they quickly exited the house. The fire chief says he believes it's a total loss.
Lander Fire Department Chief Eric Siwick tells Cowboy State Daily that at the peak of the blaze, there were 36 firefighters representing both Lander and Fremont County Fire Protection Districts on the scene. A cow elk walked out onto the roof of a building in Gardner, Montana, just outside of Yellowstone National Park, to the amazement of onlookers. Outdoors reporter Mark Hines reports that apparently she wanted the roof's sod all to herself.
It's a inoperable or maybe empty old business building, but this building's kind of built into a slope, and then it has a sod roof. So they surmise that this elk was just, kind of walking along the slope beside that and saw the sod going out across the roof and thought, oh, that looks good. I guess I'll go get that.
Gardner residents Dan and Cindy Buell tell Cowboy State Daily that normally elk are just part of the spring scenery, but that's the first time they've seen an elk on a roof. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting that daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel or listen to us on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for watching. I'm Mac Watson for Cowboy State Daily.